Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to a new series on this channel. We'll be chronicling the winners of both the Gold Gloves and Silver Slugger awards, looking at both the given season for both the National League and American League winners of these awards. To start the series, we'll look at the season of 1983. That was the year yours truly was actually born. And in part 1, we look at the AL and NL Gold Glove winners. But first, a brief explanation. The Gold Glove, which is sponsored by Rawlings, of course the infamous company which produces baseball equipment for the majors, was first introduced in 1957 and has since been awarded to players at their defensive positions. First, second, and third baseman, of course, 3 outfielders, a shortstop, a catcher, and a pitcher. While early awards were given to individual outfield positions starting in 1961 all the way to 2010, it was just given to outfielders in general, regardless of their position on the field. So that'll be the case this year. So if you see a, quote, wrong placement, unquote, on the graphics, don't whine about it. I'm sorry. Anyway, we'll begin with the American League. Well, let's take a quick look at the happenings around baseball. The MLB had been reeling from the 1981 strike, and their overall revenue and profits were down to start in 1982. But by the end of the year, they seemed to be bouncing back, and that was the case when 1983 was underway. In the American League, the Baltimore Orioles won the AL East title, beating the mighty Tigers by 6 games, while the AL West was dominated by the Chicago White Sox with their winning ugly core and winning their first division title. The Orioles won the ALCS, beating the Sox in 4 games in a best-of-5 series, and then winning their first World Series since 1970, beating the Philadelphia Phillies in 5 games in a best-of-7. So indeed, the AL takes the World Series this year. So, here we go. Without any further ado, 9 recipients. Who will it be? How will the champs do? Will the chumps have any luck? And we begin things with the American League and start at first base. And it's the World Series champion Baltimore Orioles and the great Eddie Murray. He was an incredible presence at his position and a master of assisting or causing outs. He was a cornerstone of what the Orioles defense was built around. He had an uncanny focus and intensity, and at times was able to even catch the fastest base runners after a grounder or a roller near his way. He was second in the league with 1,393 putouts. Murray obtained his first World Series title as he'd been in the league for 7 seasons. He was also a runner-up for MVP voting in the American League. And he was an All-Star for the 4th time and 3rd time consecutively. For Murray, this is his 2nd Gold Glove award, having won the year prior. And now, we move to second base. And indeed, at second base, we have from the Detroit Tigers, Sweet Lou Whitaker. Already a popular fan favorite in Detroit, he had truly become a star this year. His fast grab and beautiful double play savvy made the Tigers one of the most dangerous defensive teams in the league. He used indeed his quickness and wide range of abilities to help the Tigers emerge as a contender since arriving late in the 1977 season. His 299 putouts was 5th among second basemen to boot. This year, he was among the top 10 in voting for the AL MVP and was an All-Star for the very first time. And indeed for Mr. Sweet Lou Whitaker, it's his first Gold Glove award. And now, we shift to third base. And at third base, we have someone very familiar with Goldenest Trophy case. That's Buddy Bell of the Texas Rangers with his 5th straight and overall Gold Glove selection starting in 1979, all with the Rangers. After 7 seasons of being a popular fixture in Cleveland, his best was in Tex. It wasn't a great year for the Rangers overall, but Bell was loved by fans in Arlington. He was notable for making defensive plays look like a simple routine, even when they thought were difficult and were sure hits. He made it look easy, but it was anything but. He would make any sacrifice to get the out and make the play, and get his team out of a given inning or game. He was 5th in the AL in defensive wins above replacement with a 2.0. The 8th time in his career he reached the top 10 in that category. He was an All-Star for the 5th time as well. And it would be Bell's last Gold Glove win. He'd head to the Reds the next year, spending 4 seasons there, and had a brief stint with the Astros, and returned to the Rangers in 1989, finishing his career there. And now, we move to shortstop. And hey, it's back to the Detroit Tigers and the great Alan Trammell. He was another master of making difficult plays with precision and resulting in outs. He was tied for 1st in the AL with a .979 fielding percentage among shortstops. He and teammate plus fellow Gold Glove recipient Lou Whitaker were considered to be the most dangerous fielding combo in the league. And that's just the whole league. I mean, the American League and National League. In the majors, they probably were the best at this time. The two were the masters of committing difficult outs and making excitement. He also got some votes for AL MVP, coming in 15th. This is Trammell's 3rd Gold Glove win. He was awarded with the honor in both 80 and 81. And Trammell and Whitaker would actually win the World Series together the following year with an amazing Tigers team deep at all ends of the field. And he'd also be the World Series MVP that year. He retired in 1996, having spent all 19 seasons of his career with the Tigers. Now, we hit the outfield. And we start with Boston Red Sox superstar right fielder Dwight Evans. He owned the field at Fenway Park and was a king of the road turf as well. His eye for being ready for any fly ball was uncanny. He had one of the strongest arms in the league. And fielding a play and able to catch runners advancing, or even make the throw to first on what looks like an easy base hit. Much like many outfielders, he'd make exciting dashing plays and not afraid to crash the wall or hit the turf, but he'd make it happen. It was a rough year for the Red Sox, however, but Evans was going to be the important piece of the puzzle in their rebuilding phase that was upcoming. This is Evans' 6th Gold Glove Award. His first came back in 1976. He's back-to-back winner in 1978 and 79, and this is his 3rd straight dating back to 1981. We continue on the outfield. And for our next winner, we go to the Bo Sox's hated rival, the New York Yankees, another right fielder in Dave Winfield. He was a pure athlete in every sense of the word, and his athleticism is what made him such an asset in all the 11 seasons that at this point that he'd been in the majors. Also, a great arm to get runners out and great communication with his infield to boot. He covered a great deal of ground with his speed, and that's why even getting the best hitting clubs trying to avoid him at all costs, but it rarely worked. He was an all-star for the 7th straight season. And speaking of 7th, that's where he placed in MVP voting. The Yanks did have a good year with a 91-71 record, but it was actually only good enough for 3rd place in the highly competitive AL East. For Dave, this is his 4th Gold Glove win as he collected 2 back-to-back at 79 and 80 with the San Diego Padres, and this is now his 2nd straight as a Yankee. And now, we go to our final outfield selection. And we head to Oakland and the A's, and center fielder Dwayne Murphy. Quite often, Dwayne would make a mini highlight reel for his big plays, chasing down on what looked to be sure base hits. He was also no stranger to robbing batters of home runs and had exceptional speed covering great ground. The A's had a rough year, but there was no question Murphy kept them in many games, and got many of them, those few wins they had, with his clutch heroics. Much like many winners of this award, he had a strong arm and could even get it near home for an out, preventing a scored run. This is Murphy's 4th straight plus overall Gold Glove, all with the A's. And now, that does it for the outfield, now meaning we have 2 remaining, and we'll go to catcher. And we go back to the Detroit and the Tigers, and Lance Parrish. Parrish was one of the best at the catcher position in this era, as he knew the importance of communication with pitchers, which was also the area where the Tigers had a great deal of strength. The way he controlled the opposition's running game was uncanny, able to read a steal. He was prominent in many categories, 695 putouts. That was 2nd best among all AL catchers. 985, easy for me to say, fielding percentage was also 2nd best in this position. He was 4th in defensive wins above replacement with a 2.0. He was also an all-star for the 3rd time and 9th in AL MVP voting. And indeed, this is Parrish's 1st Gold Glove selection, and now we are down to our final recipient of the American League, and that's at pitcher. And that goes to the New York Yankees and Ron Guidry. For years now, he has been a top pitcher for the Yankees, master of the slider, but he was an excellent fielder and had a perfect fielding percentage of 1. Yes, indeed, his strong arm and success in pitching made him an expert at nailing runners out, and would also expertly cover bases on certain plays. The Yanks indeed had one of the strongest defenses in the league, and that was Guidry's specialty. He also could make catches when balls were hit in his direction and would often swat it down even if he couldn't make the catch, making a huge play throwing the runner out at first. He was an all-star for a 4th time and 21st in MVP voting. This is Guidry's 2nd straight and overall award. And, well, that does it for the American League defensive fielding standouts. Quite a lineup of 9, I must say. Well, the Tigers show their future as prominent, taking up a huge 1/3 of the selections with 3. The Yankees impressed with 2, while the A's, Red Sox, Rangers, and World Series champion Orioles each collect 1. Also a very impressive 1/3 of these selections are Hall of Famers. Dave Winfield of the Yankees was inducted in 2001, and Eddie Murray of the Orioles was enshrined in 2003, both on their first year of eligibility. Alan Trammell, however, was overlooked for years, but the Modern Baseball Committee voted to induct him in 2018. Speaking of overlooked, many can say the same, I should say, for 2 of Trammell's teammates, Lance Parrish and Lou Whitaker. A lot of newer stats in the 21st century emphasize how great Whitaker was. Parrish, however, despite being an 8-time All-Star, barely made the ballot. Also in field, Dwight Evans of the Red Sox is a huge glaring omission. So do I. Now we move to the National League. The Philadelphia Phillies, who stunned the world back in 1980 winning the World Series, have remained prominent contenders ever since, And they won the NL East this season, 6 games ahead of their state rival, shall we say, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Meanwhile, the LA Dodgers won a thrilling ride in the NL West, edging out the Atlanta Braves just by 3 games. The Dodgers had just won the World Series in 1981, but they lost the division to the Braves the year prior in 1982 by 1 game and got their revenge this year. But the Phillies won the NLCS 3-1 before losing the World Series, as I mentioned earlier, 4-1 to the Orioles. So now, who from the National League were the field masters? Let's find out. We start at first base with a biggie, Keith Hernandez. Yes, about a decade before he was one of the most infamous guest stars in the hit sitcom Seinfeld, he truly was one of the best of his era. After 55 games with the very disappointing defending World Series champion Cardinals team, he was sent to the New York Mets in a blockbuster deal and continued to thrive, and the Mets were building into something huge down the road themselves. Hernandez led the NL in putouts with 1,418. He also led all first basemen in double plays turned with 147. Keith's reflexes wowed many, as it was a major asset as a first baseman, and his throwing accuracy was arguably one of the best all around in the entire majors, and always ready to help commit any given out. Another thing that made him so good was if a throw to him fell short or just a bit behind him, he was able to rush and get it and make the play. He was often frustrating for batters and runners to play against with his positioning in foul territory, which brought about, of course, the Hernandez rule. Google it. This is Keith's 6th consecutive and overall Gold Glove win. All previous had been strictly with the St. Louis Cardinals dating back to 1978, but now he's embarking on a whole new path in New York, and now he moved to second base. And we head to the Windy City and the Chicago Cubs and icon Ryne Sandberg. No, not Ryan. Ryne. Truly a wizard of second base with his magical plays, covering a great deal of ground, was nearly perfect, never committing errors, and made double plays almost look easy. The Cubs were not a very good team this year, but many great players on the club, and Sandberg, just in his second year, was the man that they were trying to build around. He led the entire NL with 572 assisted outs. His crazy arm strength, allowing him to help eliminate attempted base hits and fast runners, was also huge. He was 5th best in the NL with a 2.0 rating in defensive wins above replacement, and had 330 putouts, which was 4th best among second basemen. This is Sandberg's first Gold Glove win, and most definitely not his last. And now we move to third base. And we go on to the National League pennant winners, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the phenomenal and amazing Mike Schmidt. One of the most disciplined and focused players of his era, maybe even of all time. His fielding prowess was nothing short of superb. He was first among third basemen with both 332 assisted outs and 29 double play turns, and his .959 fielding percentage was second best in the National League. Schmidt was a man who could cover a great deal of ground, and was quick-minded in fielding short grounders, and had a great throw to eliminate runners. The Phillies built towards success in the 1970s, despite playoff disappointments that would follow, culminated in success, and it was built around Schmidt. And now, with his 5th division title and 2nd World Series appearance, he proved he still has the will and skill of a champion. A former 2-time MVP winner, he came in 3rd in voting this year, and was an All-Star for the 8th time. And speaking of 8, this is Schmidt's 8th consecutive Gold Glove selection, the first dating back to 1976. Truly one of the best fielders of all time. And now, we move to shortstop. And at shortstop, the great Ozzie Smith of the St. Louis Cardinals. Indeed, the Wizard of Oz was casting his magic game in and game out for the struggling Cards. He was first in putouts from a shortstop with 304, 4th in the National League with a 2.3 defensive wins above replacement, and 3rd best among shortstops with a .975 fielding percentage. He was 21st in MVP voting and was an All-Star for the 3rd straight time. This acrobatic wonder was making exciting plays work to a T, but he was also very disciplined and didn't try to fancy dance every time he was trying to make it out. He was an amazing hurdler, turning in double plays as well. Truly, one of the most exciting defenders in the game and perhaps of all time with his superb athleticism. This is Smith's 4th straight and overall Gold Glove. His first 2 came actually as a member of the San Diego Padres. Boy, they got rid of a lot of good players. And this being his 2nd with the Cardinals. I think a lot of you know he was far from done. But we moved outfield. And first up is Atlanta Braves superstar and National League MVP for the 2nd straight year, Dale Murphy. The Braves star center fielder was truly a phenomenon. A well-rounded player in every sense of the word, was truly one of the best in the game in the 1980s, and was key in turning the Braves into a prominent contender again in the early 80s. While they were edged of a division title this year, Murphy still thrived, as he was 2nd among center fielders in assisted outs with 7. His .982 fielding percentage was 5th best among his position, and With great focus and instincts, Murphy was an unstoppable force in several games. This year is his third All-Star selection as well. And in addition to his highly impressive back-to-back MVP wins, this is his back-to-back and second straight and overall Gold Glove selection. Now continuing with the outfield, we now come to Willie McGee of the St. Louis Cardinals. After a breakout rookie year in 1982, which included a 2-home run performance in one game of the World Series, he excelled in his defensive role this year in 1983. Known for his speed in the outfield and able to make exciting and effective catches to commit outs, he is also known for great accuracy and throws to infielders as well as home plate. He totaled 387 putouts, which was fourth best among center fielders, and his .987 fielding percentage was second best among center fielders. His 7 assisted outs were also second. To boot, he was an all-star for the very first time. And yes, indeed, this is his first Gold Glove selection. Now, we move to our final outfield selection. And we go to the Montreal Expos and Andre the Hawk Dawson. Completing a center field trifecta for the NL, he truly dominated the outfield, and did so even with the recurring knee problems, but played with heart and fearlessness. He's very tenacious and had pure confidence and leadership. He was no stranger to making spectacular catches, but he was never trying to be fancy about it. It was all about winning for him. Despite a rough season for the Expos, Dawson still led them to their 5th straight winning record. He led the league for the 3rd straight season in putouts by a center fielder with 438. His .982 fielding percentage was 4th best among the position. And Dawson was also an all-star for the 3rd straight year, and he was actually the runner-up to Dale Murphy for National League MVP. And for Dawson, it's his 4th straight and overall Gold Glove award dating back to 1980. Now, we are down to our final 2 spots, and we head to catcher. And at catcher, we head to Pittsburgh and the Pirates and Tony Pena. He was a key to the strong year the Pirates had, and was well loved among Pittsburgh fans as a huge fan favorite. Pena was known for his unique catcher stance, where he would sit with one knee tucked to the side and one leg extended. It was odd, but it helped him excel in his position. His strong arm and communication with his fellow defenders allowed him to catch runners stealing quite often. His 976 putouts was tops among catchers in the NL. His 90 assisted outs were 4th best in his position. His 9 double plays turn was 4th. And back to catching steals. He caught stealers a total of 58 times, also 4th best. His .992 fielding percentage, 2nd among catchers. He was 12th in NL MVP voting. And this is indeed his very first Gold Glove award. Now, we're going to do the final selection for the NL of this video, pitcher. And for our final selection on the mound, we head back to Atlanta and the ageless wonder, 44-year-old Phil Niekro. His 20th season, all spent with the Atlanta Braves at this point, a master of the knuckleball, his fielding experience was key to the Braves' success for many years. Phil never wanted to be fancy, he was only interested in getting results, and was one of the most disciplined players in the league as well. With remarkable stamina at his age, he could still be quick to make a play to commit a would-be hit or an out, and his amazing throwing abilities would even help and assist in getting the best base runners out anywhere where they may be running. For the 2nd time in his career, he was first at double plays turn by a pitcher with 6. This would be his 5th and final Gold Glove win. He won 3 straight in 1978 through 1980, after missing a year, won again in 1982, and now this year. It was a stunning turn of events when he went to the Yankees the following season. And after a pretty good season there the first time, and he spent a total of 2 there, and then had a stint in Cleveland, and a very brief stint in Toronto with the Jays, and finished his career playing 1 more game in Atlanta to a standing ovation, retiring at age 48 after the 1987 season. So there you have it. These are all the NL Gold Glove winners of 1983. Truly a stacked lineup if there ever was one. In overall totals, the Braves and Cardinals each lead the lineup with 2 each. I'm not counting Hernandez's selection towards the Cardinals, as he finished the year and played more games as a Met, and plus it's my video, so haha. Anyway, speaking of the Mets, they along with the Expos, Cubs, Pirates, and NL champion Phillies each have 1 selection in a 5-way tie. And wow, 5, count them, 5 Hall of Famers for the National League, more than half of the selections, totaling at 8, combining both leagues. Mike Schmidt, to the surprise of literally no one, was the first to enshrine the Hall of Fame ballot in 1995. That was his very first year of eligibility. Phil Niekro got in 2 years later, at his 5th year on the ballot in 1997. Ozzie Smith was next in 2002, a first ballot selection. Ryan Sandberg got in on his 3rd chance in 2005, while Andre Dawson got his long overdue call to the Hall in 2010 after 9 years waiting. Yikes. However, a great argument can be made for Keith Hernandez, who was an 11-time Gold Glove winner in his career and won 2 World Series rings and was an MVP once, had a solid career and a good .296 batting average, but again, some people feel his offense wasn't consistent. And also, there's no doubt in the mind of many, especially in Atlanta, that Dale Murphy, the back-to-back NL MVP winner, 7-time All-Star, 2-time home run leader, 2-time RBI leader, 4-time Silver Slugger winner as well, should be in the Hall of Fame. Anyway, that's baseball for you. But indeed, that does it for our look at the 1983 Major League Baseball Gold Glove winners. In our next video, we'll be reviewing the 1983 Silver Slugger winners, looking at the other side of the ball with the men with the powerful bats. You'll see some familiar faces you saw in this video, as well as some new ones. Until next time, like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see ya!